Possessing the spirit of an audacious explorer from the start, nothing has obstructed the growth of man's spiritual intelligence today than his unfailing skepticism about an afterlife. As advances in technology and science dramatically alter the chivalrous culture over the centuries to an unthinking mechanical one, modern man's exaggerated arguments in his favor, his over-reliance on his mortal powers, his hyperbolic claim to overcome mortality with his sudden fall in the mysterious portal of death creates a curious paradox. Neither are all scientists fully convinced that this man possesses a soul that lives on, nor do all faiths conform to the idea of a living self, besides the physical body. Nevertheless, the soul that stays eternal in the afterlife should not be confused with the psychological state of mind, as most of us know that feelings and perceptions clustering around an individual's experience are ephemeral in nature, while the spiritual side of the self that bespeaks of dreams and visions is entirely distinct in its character and separate from other physical and metaphysical world of entities. To many it may come as a surprise, but the soul is as gifted with a number of senses as the body is, and it constitutes the real man behind the apparent man, equally alive or even more alive than the physical one, and deeply receptive to many perceivable and imperceivable forces inside out. With many religions still struggling with the idea of reproducing the right imagery of an afterlife to procure a better understanding of the reward and punishment of the soul, a lot of connotative and denotative meanings from the scriptures and religious allegories have been derived. Yet the new generation of explorers seems to pay little or no attention to this divine struggle of comprehending the idea of an afterlife, which is connected to the understanding of the soul. Our body is designed to sense danger, and through the feelings of fear, we are repelled from undertaking dangerous activities. But the senses of the soul are not fully capable of sensing all forms of danger unless we are guided by someone who is overwhelmingly spiritually intelligent. Over the years, man has successfully been able to define many sorts of intelligence. There's his rational intelligence. Through this ability, he makes a logical analysis of himself, his emotional intelligence that helps him manage his feelings and others. His physical intelligence aims at creating a positive relationship between his mind and body, keeping in view his limitations, and above all, his spiritual intelligence that makes him aware of his innate ability to determine what is right or wrong, understand his mind and soul, while geared at creating relationships with a sense of the sacred. Life of the soul exists in many forms, therefore, and people are going to be judged for their relationships, their relationship with God, their relationship with their own selves, and their relationship with others. How rationally, emotionally, and spiritually intelligent were they, and how persevering is something that is being documented. He utters not a word, but there is by him a guardian angel ready to record it. Holy Quran. A whole generation in this era is inspired by techno-blade characters that are here to spearhead a rebellion against the corrupt enemy and other fantastical stories that go on to prove that good finally overcomes evil. Yet in real life, these techno-blade fans do little to change the course of their life by protecting the mirroring afterlife of their soul from being tainted by persisting in their sinful ways. Though many worldly wise people may not endorse the theory of instilling a positive belief in an afterlife, yet a seeker who disciplines the soul by avoiding his heart from corruption, by avoiding the hard-to-trace pitfalls, would be able to attain salvation of his soul if he is sincere in his struggle. This divine struggle is actually an unavoidable undertaking, and the challenge cannot be overlooked. It is a holy struggle, and no matter how difficult it may seem to solve this predicament, one feels immense rewarded, because in each worrisome moment the Lord accompanies the struggler. Another impediment to this spiritual struggle of finding clues to the afterlife of the soul is the fear of losing one's free spirit to truth that has kept mankind in the dark. Little do people want to confront God and believe in an afterlife because they deem the man-God relationship could cost them everything, like losing the battle on all fronts. But the point they miss is that it could just be a transition from a presumable state of perfection to a real state of purified station that can help them see where their spirit is currently located in the unseen realm of afterlife, right now. The need to make a coherent approach towards understanding the self, or consciousness of the soul, is the essence of a meaningful life. In the words of the Messiah of the end of times, on whom be peace, you should remember that even if there is only one truthful person, he will attract thousands of people. And you should know that really and truly the truthful person is he who keeps his self at a distance of thousands of miles from himself. This is the root of the religion, and this also is the taqwa, fear of God and religiousness. Religion is not like a trading center. The physical and the spiritual dimensions coexist, and it takes a spiritually keen man to understand the wisdom of divine law and its application on his soul to comprehend the realm of afterlife in this life. An interesting question at this point would be, why is the soul, if there exists one, be punished or rewarded for what the body did? We can try to understand this through the same philosophy that applies to our physical life. A child is born innocent, and he starts forming his judgment in small aspects of life based on his knowledge and witnesses the outcome of those decisions. He is considered blameless until he is skilled in his decision-making, but to deceive oneself into thinking that we are blameless forever, or we are sinners by default, and we can't change that, nor do we possess a soul that transcends the physical body, is like asking the laws of God to bend according to our interests. The physical body will not be punished. It is meant to deteriorate, but the spiritual body will be rewarded or punished for what it earned. Islam, the faith perfected to its limits, shines ample light on this subject and suggests that each intention, each gesture, in fact, every sound we utter, every action we commit is recorded, and likewise makes a dual impact. It makes an impact on the current life, causing an effect on our physical lives, and it makes another meaningful impact on the hidden self in the spiritual world. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, may Allah have mercy on him, explains in one of his conversations, the love of any impure thing, that very love will manifest itself as a torment in the next world. Like all Abrahamic faiths, Islam, the final faith revealed to save mankind, goes a step further by granting our soul the opportunity to achieve that one-on-one experience with God right here on earth. This makes possible for us to spiritually observe the life we have earned or we have been blessed with, according to the nature of our ties with God and His people. The whole text of the Holy Quran and Hadith is replete with beautiful images of heaven and dark images of hell to help acquaint mankind with the truth of the spiritual world, to help people understand that disbelief or pretentious faith, accompanied by fake worshiping rituals, will avail them nothing unless the soul with all its faculties is surrendered to the real God alone. But with an attitude of callousness, the vision of the multitude seems to show less promising, and it is more than ever important to make strides in the direction of attaining that renewed sense of spiritual awareness, the beautiful state of spiritual ecstasy. The seed of love is sown in our existence, and it is only after embarking on the path of godly men, on whom the Holy Spirit descended, can we expect to see our being blossom into a fruitful tree in this life and the next, which is the continuation of the first. In one of the commentaries of the promised Messiah, on whom be peace, he explains, from divine light, which makes it possible see the hidden secrets, like the condition of one's soul, and life, the Holy Spirit is meant, because that wipes out the darkness and animates the heart. It is called the Holy Spirit. In other words, is the spirit of purity, and it is through this spirit a holy life that can see into the spiritual realm is achieved. It would not be wrong to construe that the present life is a shadow of the afterlife, offering subtle clues on it every day, everywhere. The existence of the soul is identified by an enthusiastic believer at an early stage, and he falls not in the traps of self-deceit. He knows that unless all of his hidden motives and intentions are absolutely honest and original, he cannot proceed an inch on the path of spirituality. A wise believer knows it is better he surrenders his soul to his Lord, because the spiritual maladies cannot be gotten rid of unless the gracious God looks upon him with mercy and devises plans to immune him from them. So if there's no soul and no resultant afterlife, there's also no vivid type of intelligence man claims to possess and ridiculously rule the laws of nature with. In this case, his image gets reduced to that of a dummy or a robot that is programmed for everything he thinks and does. And we know this is not true, because man, being the master of all creatures, is every day soaked in achieving immense levels of intelligence in many areas. So the real spiritual man inside the physical man keeps on evolving, simultaneously in the spiritual world, and it is up to this enlightened modern man how much he tries to improve or impair his spiritual faculties. All forms of intelligence transcend the physical body, and the more a man focuses on adhering to the ways of the one God, who is a spirit himself, by employing all his faculties in a unified way to accomplish his will in all that he does and thinks, the fairer his reflection is likely to emerge in the mirror of the other world.